I'd like to ask this to both of the gentlemen. Without commenting on the negotiating positions and your opinions, how much importance does the government of the Republic of Korea assign to the successful renewal of the 123 agreement, the civilian nuclear cooperation agreement, and why is it important to the U.S., and what are the implications to the U.S.-Korea alliance if for some reason the agreement is not renewed? And I'll start with you, Mr. Chabot, if that's okay.
I think the agreement is very important to the Republic of Korea, partly because of the successful relationship our industries have. They would like to see a continuation and an enriching of that relationship.
Mr. Countryman?
The agreement is important to both governments. It serves as a commitment to each other that we are both determined to remain both technical and commercial leaders in the global nuclear power industry. It ensures that we continue to share the vital goal of preventing nuclear nonproliferation, and of course, renewing it on time, given this 2-year extension, will prevent any interruption in our commercial cooperation, which is essential both for United States provision of fuel and equipment to nuclear power plants in the Republic of Korea and to U.S. content in the power plants that the Republic of Korea is selling, for example, to the United Arab Emirates. And I am confident that we will not reach that situation of facing those consequences because of the joint determination of both countries to get a good agreement done within the time that we hope you will permit us.
Thank you. Last week, North Korea's UN ambassador held a news conference during which he claimed North Korea was essentially blameless for tensions on the Korean Peninsula and that their recent nuclear and missile tests were purely for self-defense. He further claimed that the U.S. is entirely responsible for the ever-worsening situation on the Korean Peninsula. Now, the history of dealing with North Korea has been they act up, they act outrageous, stomp around, and we criticize them, and then at some point we and our allies essentially buy them off with food and or fuel. They promised to be better, and for at least some short period of time, at least publicly, they are. And then they act up again, and we start this process all over again. How should we avoid this in the future? And I'll again start with you, Mr. Chabot, if I can.
As I said in my statement, we are determined not to reward North Korea for provocation or for refraining from provocation or merely for coming back and talking. So what we have stated is that we are open to authentic and credible negotiations which focus on denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, but we are not interested in talks until we see that North Korea is serious. And the way we would see this is by North Korea taking some concrete steps that show us that they've really changed their position. So what our strategy now is to engage friends and partners in the region, the other 6-party partners, particularly China, who has a unique relationship with North Korea, and encouraging China to use its influence to try and persuade North Korea to take a different tack.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Countryman?
Nothing to add to that, sir.
Okay. All right. Under President Park, South Korea intends to reach out and develop closer ties with China, and as the ranking member, Mr. Vega, mentioned, President Park is meeting with President Xi, I believe today, or at least they were heading there today. What can we expect from this visit, would you say? How is this going to affect future relations, and et cetera? Relatively briefly.
We've had extensive consultations with Korea about China, and we, although I don't want to speak for the Korean government, obviously, we think it's very helpful that she goes to China and talks directly, and I think she will be asking China to use its influence to persuade North Korea to become serious about living up to its commitment to denuclearization.
Thank you. Mr. Countryman? All right. I will now recognize the ranking member, Mr. Vega, for 5 minutes for questions.